Welcome back to my channel. I'm Girly Soup, and tonight, as always, I will be eating some soup. And tonight I'm going to be tasting and reviewing the Morrisons own brand minestrone soup. This is one of the canned soups, ambient, not chilled. So it'll be interesting to see how this canned soup compares to the fresh soup that I reviewed on my last episode. I do have the whole can in my bowl in front of me just because this is part of that Eat Smart range, and I'm not sure how filling this soup's going to be, as it, I don't know, it looks a little runny, but you know, I've microwaved my soup and I'm just going to get straight into the tasting and the reviewing. So I just want to give you a quick insight into this soup and just show you kind of what it looks like. Okay, so you guys will know if you watch my previous videos that the soups that I try are rated categorically out of 5 in terms of taste, texture, price, microwave splatteriness, and an overall rating. This soup, I'm just going to give you a little bit of description of the soup before I get into my numerical rating. So this soup is a minestrone, so it has pasta inside of it. I would say that the pasta is not really the best representation of pasta that you could eat. Also, the vegetables are a little, I don't know, I feel like the vegetables have literally just come out of the can, and that's because they have, but I feel like there's probably not the freshest of vegetables in here, but you know, you'd have to ask Morrisons to know that for sure. I don't know. It's not an expensive soup by any means. It's Morrisons' own brand, it's 45p, so you kind of get what you pay for with this soup. Although, that being said, I have had cheap soups before that have been really, really good. This soup feels a little bit like a depression meal to me. You know, it's quick, it's easy, it's convenient, and it doesn't really look good. I'm not saying the soup doesn't have its value. There are good things about this soup, and I will go into those in a little bit more depth very soon. But first of all, I just want to talk about the taste of this soup. So this soup, there's an attempt at tomato, but it does taste very artificial. So for this soup, the ingredient at the top of the ingredients list is actually water, and I mean, texture-wise, you can really tell because the consistency is very, very runny. It's kind of like a cup of soup consistency, like the liquid. So I mean, if you like cup of soups, then you know, maybe give this one a go, especially if you're on a budget. I think taste-wise, I would probably give this soup maybe a 2.5, just because, I don't know, it doesn't quite do for me what I would want a soup to do. Okay, so now moving on to the texture of this soup. And like I said before, the consistency is very, it reminds me quite a bit of a cup of soup, in that it's a very smooth liquid. Yeah, it's a very smooth liquid, I don't know, it's very thin, very watery. It's like savoury flavoured water with lumps, and the lumps aren't particularly delightful. I mean, the vegetables, they're there. There are quite a lot of vegetables in here, and it does count as one of your 5 a day, which is great, but I mean, the texture of the vegetables isn't the best. They're quite soft. I don't know, there doesn't feel like there's much substance to this soup. So in terms of the texture, I feel like I might have to give it a 1.5, which feels really harsh to me, but if I gave anything above a 2 texture-wise to this soup, I'd be lying to myself and to you guys, and that's not fair. Okay, so if you've watched my last video, you'll know that my main complaint with the Sainsbury's soup was the microwave splatteriness. Now this soup, on the other hand, there's no problem there at all. I put the whole can of soup into my bowl and no soup spilled out. I barely even heard like a pop or a poop or a bang coming from the microwave. There was no indication that this soup was going anywhere. If you want a soup that's loyal to your bowl, then this is the one for you. I think that for this soup and its microwave splatteriness rating, I am going to have to give it a 5, which is really, really impressive. It's very rare that I come across a soup that deserves more than a 4, truly. the majority of soups that I have eaten or have made have splattered in the microwave. This soup, on the other hand, I really didn't have that problem with. It was very easy. Very, very easy, very accessible. Just straight from the can, into the bowl, into the microwave, and that's done. And no need to even clean up after yourself. So with reference to the price of this soup, as I said earlier, this soup only cost 45 pence from Morrisons. This, I think, is a very good price for a soup. I mean, the serving is supposed to be half a can, but if you eat half a can of this Eat Smart Morrisons minestrone soup, then why even bother? But I mean, 45 pence for a can of soup, that's really not too bad. And I know that Morrisons do actually have a deal on at the moment on their own brand soups of 5 cans for £2, so you can save yourself some money and get the deal. If that is something you really want to try a lot of, then I would say go for that. This soup is very affordable. It doesn't have the hugest amount of soup in it. It's 400 grams. It's one large bowlful, really. But 45 pence for maybe a lunch or a light dinner, or pair it with a nice baguette to kind of fancy it up a bit so you don't feel like you're eating 45 pence soup from Morrisons. I think it's definitely good value, but with that being said, you do get what you pay for. So if you're expecting a gourmet soup, this isn't going to provide that for you. It's just not. But if you're more than happy with just a standard soup, it's got some texture, it's got some flavour, it's got a little bit of substance, then this one will be fine. This is a soup that I would eat again, but it probably wouldn't be my first choice of soup. But if I was desperate for soup and it was, you know, one of the only ones on the shelf, then I would go back to it. It's not off the soup trying list forever. And I think that's important. I do like to keep my horizons open in terms of soup. So, you know, as I said before in my previous videos, if you do have any recommendations, then just send them my way and I will try and get my hands on them as soon as possible. So as an overall rating for this soup, I have to take into consideration the taste, the consistency, the price, the micro-splashiness. And I think on balance, this soup is probably worthy of about 2.5 stars out of 5. I am usually a really big advocate for Morrisons in terms of their food and their prices. It's usually really good quality, and I'm not saying that this isn't good quality, but it's not the best, and I think Morrisons could do better if they tried. And honestly, I think you could do better if you tried. Maybe try a fresh tub or Heinz. And I hate to be that person, because usually I'm so against people being like, branded is better, because usually that's bullshit and branded is not better. But on this occasion, those elitist twats, they might be right, and I have to give them some credit here. So if you are an advocate of Heinz, this minestrone is probably not going to be up to your standards, and sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you don't meet the expectations that people have of you, and that goes for soup and for people, and sometimes you've got to let it go, you've got to accept it, and you've got to move on, and that's kind of what I'm doing with this soup right now. I've accepted it, and I've come to terms with it, I'm at peace with it, and I can move on. I can finish my soup, and I can know that maybe it wasn't the most satisfying, but that's okay, but that's okay. There's no because needed. I really hope that this review has been insightful for you guys, and I hope that, as always, you are inspired by my soup choices and my refined palette of soup tastingness. And if this is a soup that you want to try, then head on down to your local Morrisons with 45 pence in your pocket and you can grab yourself a can. I don't think you'll regret it. I don't regret this soup. I don't ever regret a soup unless it's really bad, and I don't usually do that to myself. If I don't regret it, then I don't think you will regret it either. But that being said, just bear in mind everything that I have mentioned in this video today. Thank you for watching yet another video. I've been Garlic Soup, and as always, I have eaten soup.